The opinions and views expressed in the following program are those of the speakers and the host, and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and Your Sports Network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look in my soul. I've been afraid I would follow the road. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
Hello, everybody. Welcome inside a Wednesday episode of Running Point on ysnlive.com. Brought to you, as always, by those good friends over at Greenwood Chevrolet in Austin Town. They go the extra mile for you, and we try to do the same here every day on this show and on YSN. It's Wednesday, which means Scotty Mincher is joining us from his lovely abode. His butler was talking to him before the show. I wish I had a butler, Scotty.
Yeah, well,
A manservant.
I have a butler, but I think you have the cooler room. So the Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away.
We have a softball of the day every day during softball season, but we're gonna I promise that we're gonna have like a new one every day for softball season because I have enough to do it. But unbeknownst to me, my brother surprised me the other day with a softball shelf, as you can see up there on my wall. So I don't think we're gonna have enough for a softball every day because obviously I can't reach those ones up there. So we're gonna have to rotate like the 9 that I have on my desk for the rest of the softball season. But it is a new one today that has not been featured yet. It is from Georgia Tech softball last year, and I know a lot of people will give me flack during softball season because I'm wearing a bunch of different colleges and I'm always sporting different colors. I have a lot of friends that play or coach different places, and I like to support them. But end of the day, Georgia Tech's my ride or die, and I've told many friends that if you play Georgia Tech, all bets are off. They are my team. I will root for them over you. Jenna Modick, who is a good friend of mine, learned that she played at Pitt. I rooted for her in every ACC series except Georgia Tech. It's just how it goes. So Tech will always have a great place in my heart, and the ball from last year's team, signed by every member of the team, is featured today on the softball of the day. Scotty, how we doing today, brother? I'm so good to have you on. We were talking before the show. It's our first Wednesday without Gary in a long time. We're kind of sad.
Yeah, for sure. Gary, he definitely. I'm sure he did it for you as well. We talked about it quite a bit, but he taught me an awful lot. Just his experience and knowledge of the sport of wrestling is, second to nobody that I've heard. So
He is our wrestling guru. That's for sure. Can't wait to have him back on next season for Wrestling Wednesdays. But here we are. We're going into the spring sports season, Scotty. I know you're excited for baseball and softball, one of your favorite sports. And like we do every Wednesday, like we're going to do every Wednesday, it's kind of you're driving, so everyone better be prepared for a lot of wacky hijinks because Scotty has the wheel on Running Point. You brought a lot of topics here for us today. What's first on your mind on today's episode of Running Point?
yeah, it's funny because we were joking before the show, and we were joking about that scene in Tommy Boy when they don't decide to go with his brake pads, and we were joking that the show might get to that point, but I'll try to steer us clear of that. But first, Anthony, I was thinking since You are our girls sports. You're the face of girls sports on the network. I wanted to talk to you about something a little different. I wanted to talk to you. You posted a story a couple nights ago about Mooney girls lacrosse,
Mhm.
and I just wanted to get your thoughts a little bit. They've started the season strong. They opened with a 13-4 win against Boardman. And then they followed that up. They got another victory. I believe it was a 9-3 win against Akron St. Vincent St.
You
Mary's.
did last night.
They will face Canfield tomorrow. So I just wanted to know, especially with lacrosse being newer here on our network, and me being a part of seeing that coverage now and getting to read about it. I just wanted to know, what's the most intriguing thing to you about the sport of lacrosse, and then more specifically when it comes to the Mooney girls, what has impressed you the most so far about them this season?
Well, this is a great segue, Scotty, and you didn't even know you did it. This is why you're a professional. Because we're gonna have an interview with Tony Shaheen, the head coach of the Mooney lacrosse team, on later on in the week. But can't wait to share that with you guys. But got a chance to talk with her, and one of the things that is really impressive about this Mooney softball team. I mean softball. What am I? I'm in softball, but this Mooney lacrosse team is the fact that they have jumped from 14 players last year to 20 players on the roster this year. So they've made a 6 girl jump, and a lot of it is their freshman class. They are bringing people in the school system that are immediately interested in playing lacrosse. That's a big growth going from 14 to 20 in one season. A lot of it is the success they had last year. They were one of the best teams in the region, but a lot of it is just the growth of the sport that we see in the area, and it's getting kids really excited to play lacrosse. There aren't too many local teams that you can play for right now, and I think Mooney is one of them, and Canfield has a great lacrosse team. I'm really excited for this matchup tomorrow night between Canfield and Mooney, because those are two of the best teams in the region going up against each other. Last year, the Cardinals had a really impressive tournament run that we actually covered on Ysn. Anthony Romo did a great job picking them up late in the season when we kind of understood that they were picking up a lot of steam and they could put something special together. Anthony Romo did a really good job covering them down the stretch, and he's a lacrosse expert, I could say, because he's done a lot of a lot of good things with YSU lacrosse. So really impressed with Mooney's ability to grow the program. It's Tony Shaheen's 7th year as the head coach of the Mooney lacrosse team, and I think she said this is the biggest roster that she's had. So that sport continues to grow, and the program under her continues to grow in Cardinal Mooney.
Do you see, like, not as far as, because obviously there's a lot more schools where you could get into the sport of wrestling, but you almost, we were talking about Gary at the top of the show and how we're gonna miss him and how it's the end of the wrestling season, but do you almost see kind of things that are similar with, as far as the excitement of wrestling that kind of connects to lacrosse too, being like, at least as far as being newer on the network and our coverage, do you kind of feel some of that same buzz and excitement with lacrosse like we do with wrestling?
I think wrestling is right now where lacrosse wants to be in a couple of years, where like we've seen the growth, the rapid growth of wrestling in the area. The last, I would say, 5, 6, 7 years, where we've seen a lot of programs kind of build themselves into state caliber programs that are known across the state. And now because South Range has gotten a handful of state qualifiers in the last couple of years. Jackson Milton started to put together a really good wrestling program. Obviously, Louisville Beaver local, Garfield got their first 2 state champions this year. Garfield did. So I think that's where wrestling is in the area now. I think that's where lacrosse wants to be in the next couple of years, and you can start to see it. You already have two of the best teams in the region. The teams from Cleveland and Akron want to come to play. I mean, it used to be that you had to go there and you would kind of be, looked at as a little brother coming up to Cleveland to play lacrosse. But now there are teams in the Cleveland and Akron areas that want to come down to Youngstown and play Cardinal Mooney. That's a big step for this sport.
And you talked about Mooney's the growth is as well from uh, even just in one season. So it is exciting. I'm gonna be really curious to see how they fare. See if they can start 3-0 in their big matchup coming up against Canfield as well. But we have something else big this week, and it is the YSN All Star Game. Now, Anthony, I was blessed with the opportunity last year to be able to not only attend the game but to call the game with you. In your experience, you've called many games, not just basketball, but you talked about your knowledge in softball, now lacrosse. But what do you enjoy the most about covering the YSN boys and girls and getting the chance to announce the All-Star games?
Well, there are a couple of things, and the first thing that I love about calling an All Star game, and you got the chance to experience this last year as well, and then you got to experience calling a regular season game this year, and the kind of the differences between the two. You get to let your hair down a little bit during an All Star game. You get to have a little fun with the broadcast. You get to, say things about these players and let the video kind of tell the on court action. I think during the regular season, every play is so important that you almost get the pressure of not missing a call because you're talking about a player. But in the All Star game, you can really talk up these athletes because at the end of the day, we're not there for the score. We're there for the highlighting of the kids. So although we get to see a lot of great plays, and last year's game, especially on the girls' side, came down to half court shots, and that was our overtime. So it was an exciting, really competitive game. But that's kind of secondary to just being able to highlight these athletes, and that's one of the best parts about calling an all-star game is you don't have the pressure of hitting every call and hitting every beat of the actual action, but instead you get to have a little bit of fun with it, and you get to dive in with a little bit more info about these players and shine lights on these players rather than being so focused on making sure you get every beat of the actual game.
You mentioned the players and getting to shine the light on them. Do you think that the girls and boys high school basketball right now, as it stands, do you think it's at the strongest point it's ever been? Do you think it's peaking right now? And also, do you think that this is about as much parity as we're going to get, or don't you necessarily see a ceiling? Do you think things could get better from here going forward in the next year to 3 years down the
I'll,
line?
I'll tell you what, Scotty, I'm not going to sit here and say that basketball in the area is better than it's ever been because, to be quite honest, before I worked for YSN in 2017 when I signed on, didn't pay much attention to the large scope of basketball, what everyone else was doing. I was kind of just focused on South Range and being a fan of them and running their social media account and kind of watching them. So I knew teams that were on their schedule, but outside of that world, it was lost to me. So I'm not hugely educated on basketball is in the huge scope of the local basketball world before 2017. But I will tell you then I think basketball is better than it's ever been while YSN has been covering basketball. When you look at the teams we have, the talent we have, I think it is. And I talked about this yesterday. No, I talked about this Monday, how people after a season, especially on the boys basketball side, you'll say, Youngstown area didn't get a state champion again. It's been a long time since the Tri-County area of Trumbull, Mahoning, and Columbiana got a state championship in boys basketball. And they said, well, because of that, the area basketball is down, and it's way down from what it's been. And I just think that's a whole lot of malarkey because of how good the region in Northeast Ohio is. I mean, you look at this year's state championship, Scotty, the region of Northeast Ohio swept all 4 divisions. I mean, you have Hoban, YSN school, so woo, but not necessarily in the Tri-County that we're talking about. But Hoban won, that's Northeast Ohio region. Bucktel won, that's Akron, so Northeast Ohio region. Lutheran East was in our district, forget our region, in Division 3. And then you have Richmond Heights, once again, in our region in Division 4. So you have 4 Northeast Ohio regional teams all winning state championships. And that was the second time in the last 6 years that has happened in the Ohio State Championships, with Northeast Ohio sweeping the whole tournament. So that tells you how tough the Northeast Ohio basketball is in the region. And it may give you a little bit of an inside scoop on how we're not down in basketball. Like, just because we're not getting state champions doesn't mean we're down. I think if you put us in any other region of the state, we probably put at least 1 or 2 teams in the state tournament by now. But it just hasn't happened because we run into buzzsaws like Lutheran East, Richmond Heights, Bucktel. I know, for a time it was Canton Central Catholic. Gilmore Academy is a real good one in our region as well. It's tough to get out of our region in boys basketball because Northeast Ohio, in the macro local scene, is a lot better than the rest of the state of Ohio right now.
That being said, I wanted to know from you, and if it's, I'm kind of putting you on the spot here, so bear with me. But I wanted to know, when it comes to the boys and the girls, and we've talked about shining a light on the players, but give me one name on, as far as the boys all-star team goes, that maybe not necessarily you were surprised, but is most improved from this year to last year. And then on the girls side as well, give me 2 players you think maybe improved their game the most.
Let me take a gander at our roster, because what I like about this roster and this All-Star game is we've obviously added some more teams from last year. So we have some newcomers, we have some new faces, but we also have some teams that are sending new representatives because of what these kids have been able to do from this year to last year. And I'm looking at it, and I think, and this is, you put me on the spot. I'll start with girls because that's just the roster that I was on when I brought up the spreadsheet. You know who I was really impressed with this year and is going to be playing in our All-Star game, and I don't believe was able to come to our All-Star game last year, if memory serves me right. So many players played in it. So if this person did, I apologize. But I'm looking at Girard girls, those season that they had. Obviously, they weren't able to win the NE8, but there was a time in a really into the season where they were in the mix. They were right there. They just had to beat Struthers one time in the field house, and they would have had at least a share of the NE8. They had a really good basketball season. I think one of the big reasons why is their representative this year in CH the Triplet, and what she was able to do between last year to this year is grow as a basketball player. What I mean by that is, in years past, Scotty, she's a track star, right? So her athleticism always shined through on the basketball court. She could always run with anybody in the conference, definitely anybody on Girard's schedule. But now she's a little bit better at just the basketball stuff, basketball IQ, making the right passes, being able to distribute the ball, being able to know and make good decisions in transition. Sometimes players get so good in transition, and I know you've seen this before too, that they almost run too fast and they don't really make the decision as fast as they can. I always preach efficiency is better than speed. Like, so be as fast as you can while also being efficient with what you're doing. And I think this year, Sage the Triplet has become a lot more efficient with her speed rather than just going all the way at 10 and ripping the dial off the knob, and sometimes maybe going a little bit too fast to make the right decisions on the basketball floor. So I think this year, Sage the Triplet is one of the players that I think really made great improvements from last year to this year, and one of the big reasons why Gerard was really in the mix all season in that NE8 girls basketball world. And then we go to the boys, right? So
Yeah.
boys basketball, um, I just want to give a shout out to South Range, and especially we're gonna have two representatives because Coach Irons is gonna be one of the coaches, and we've told our coaches that, because they're taking the time out of their schedule to come and help us out, they were able to bring two players. So we'll have Landon Moore and Dylan Turvey both on the team. Landon Moore's been a great basketball player ever since he stepped on the floor for South Range. I really like what I saw this year out of Dylan Turvey, and especially down the stretch, and the way he was able to kind of morph his game into whatever the team needed. Because first half of the season, if you watch Dylan Turvey on film, he was probably one of the best on-ball defenders that South Range had. Didn't score a ton the first half of the season, but he was a really good defender. And then as the season went on, and as South Range started to play better and better and better, and teams started to scout him a little bit more and take away some players that really did well, I think you kind of saw a need for another scorer for South Range, and Turvey turned into a player that could also score. I think he finished the last 3 games of the regular season with double figures, really proving that he can morph into whatever the team needs. I was really impressed with Turvey this year as a junior, stepping into a little bit more of a leadership role. He was key to that defense all year, that really good Raider defense. But I think especially down the stretch, I was surprised by how much of a scorer he really turned into down the stretch of the season.
I wanted to know, since you brought up your alma mater and your
Don't
uh,
expose my homerism, Scotty.
yeah, I did.
Oh man,
You're the super fan.
I know.
But what do you think it took? I know we talked about it a little bit before, so it didn't necessarily shock you, but I I think South Range this past season, as far as the boys basketball went, maybe you could say me and DJ talked about this too. Maybe there was a little hangover from football season at the start of the year. I believe they got off to that 0-5 start.
Mhm.
But how much do you attribute? Obviously, we've talked about this a lot on the network, and it's players, when they have to go out and execute, and they win the games more than anybody. But what, maybe, I mean, you've got to know him pretty closely, but what's one thing that really you admire about Coach Irons and what he's able to do?
One of the best things I could say about Coach TJ Irons is the investment he's made into the South Range athletics program that goes beyond just showing up as a coach. I mean, one of the reasons why all the guys were so excited that he stepped into that role is because they all knew him from when he coached in elementary, and he would coach them in, junior high, and now he's coaching them as a varsity, varsity head coach. And he's also been on the staff of the high school team as well. So he's kind of coached them at every level, and he just invests all of his time and in commitment into these kids, not only teaching them during the school day as a third grade teacher, but also coaching them after the school hours. And I think when you get a coach that proves time and time again that he's putting the time in and putting the effort in and putting the care into your program, it's really easy to play hard for him. And I think one of the great things that South Range did this year on the basketball court that kind of got them past that bad start. And I've talked to a couple of players about this too. They just kind of had a inner circle meeting that just said, like, we're sick of everything from the outside. Like, we're gonna block out everything outside of these doors. It's all about us inside this inner circle. And we don't care about the noise. We don't care about their start. We don't care about all the stuff that's going on outside these doors. We're a brotherhood. We're going to play together. We're going to play as a unit. And that team trusted each other all season long. And that's why they were 9-0 in one possession games, because everyone trusted their teammates to go do their job. You see how many times in high school basketball, especially down the stretch of a close game, do we see some players and some teams fall into the trap of playing hero ball, right? Trying to just throw up a shot, might be a bad shot. Usually it is a bad shot, and it misses, and they tried to be the hero. But that comes from not trusting your teammates to go and do their job. And I think South Range was able to hit a lot of buzzer beaters and win a lot of games down the stretch because they trusted their teammates to do what they had to do. And there weren't any instances where guys got shots that were rushed, or guys just took shots because they didn't feel like their teammate would be able to hit it if they passed it. It was a team that trusted each other a lot on the floor, a lot off the floor. And I think after that start they had and all the stuff that happened inside that locker room, being able to trust everyone that's in it and not worry about anything that's outside of it, did really big wonders for their program. And they're bringing almost everybody back, which will be important too.
And they just both any program, it seems like they just have so much resolve and are good at, overcoming adversity, not letting things snowball. So I really enjoyed what you had to say about, letting these athletes shine, and some of them that have really improved in your mind from this year to last season. I thought that was really good stuff when you talked about, Triplet and her being able to, kind of pull the reins in when she was on a fast break and stuff like that, and how she kind of slowed down her game a little bit for the better. But
Scotty, we have a softball coach popping in with us for a little bit, helping us continue to preview our spring season. I hate to cut you off, but want to give her time. Nicole Waite from Howland popping in. Coach, thank you so much for the time today and being able to hop on with us on Running Point.
Thanks for having me.
What I want to start with is just this roster going up and down the players that you have. Obviously, some that we're really familiar with, and then there are also obviously some new faces that are going to step on this Howland softball field that we need to be introduced to. So, introduce us to your team and some of the great players you have on the roster this year.
Yeah, sure. I am returning most of my varsity team. I only graduated one senior who was, a large part of our team last year. She was a very strong senior captain. She's off playing at Otterbein this year and doing well. So I am bringing back, 8 really strong starters. I have 6 seniors this year. I have one of my pitchers is a senior. She's getting ready to head to Hocking Hills to pitch. I have a senior catcher who is a big, strong part of our team. She does a great job in leading the girls behind the plate and getting everybody into place of where they need to be. I have a senior first baseman. Let me go back. Lex Spangler is my pitcher. Kayla Campbell, my catcher. I have a senior first baseman, Chloe Lopez. She is headed to Chatham to play softball. I have a senior utility player. She plays some outfield for us. She also plays second base, Ariana Wilkinson. She is heading to Allegheny to play. And then my center fielder, Zoe King. She is a little undecided, I think, of where she's going to play, but she is looking to play somewhere. And Jade Fazette is also a utility player for me. She plays second base. She can pretty much play anywhere that I put her on the field. But those are all returning for me. And of course, I have Alyssa Masucci. She's a junior. She's my starting shortstop. Alyssa's been starting for me since she was a freshman. She's just a strong presence on the field, whether it's in the field or up at the plate. We're expecting big things from her this year. And, I think she's looking to have a big junior year so that, she has an opportunity in the offseason to see where she might go play next year. I know she's already been talking to a few schools. And then I'm also returning one of my pitchers as well, who pitched for me and was a strong asset for us last year as a freshman, Brooke Tater. So her and Lex will be leading us on the mound. And I'm bringing up a couple juniors. I have Sydney Vaness, who will play some outfield for us. Zoe Tomko, she's also a junior, will play some outfield for us. And I also have some underclassmen who we're looking at probably pulling up when we can. We're pretty tight this year. We're 10-10 JV and varsity. I have a hurt senior right now. She's supposed to get her cast off next week, so we're hoping to get her back. But we're looking to bring up some of our younger players who, can fill some different roles for us. With us losing a senior pitcher this year, we have 4 underclassmen pitchers. We have a sophomore, Callie Vardavis. We have a freshman, Michelina Waite. We have a freshman, Callie Lumen. And we also have a lefty freshman, Marissa Ray. So we're looking to bring them up when we can and fill them in the games that we can to see who's going to help Brooke next year on the mountain, who's going to help lead them that way.
Anyone that knows softball knows that it starts in the circle. You can't do anything without good pitching. And I think last year everyone kind of knew that Spengler was going to come and be one of the best pitchers that you have. But Brooke stepped in and kind of introduced herself as a freshman last year as well. What kind of developments do you see from her freshman to sophomore year inside the circle?
We've actually talked about that a little bit, not necessarily about the change that she's made in the circle, because, she pitched well last year and, I think she's pitching well this year. Her and Lex are, they're both great pitchers. They're just great in their own ways. They're different kinds of pitchers. They do different things. They create havoc for, batters in a different way. But we've been really impressed this year with the way that Brooke has matured in her way that she is leading on the mound. You can tell she's just a lot more comfortable this year as a sophomore than she was as a freshman. And she just brings so much energy, whether she's in the dugout, up at the plate, or playing third base or on the mound. She's a presence.
When we talk about your schedule, we got to talk about this conference. What a gauntlet it is in the AAC, and it's pitching everywhere.
Yes.
With Boardman and Fitch and Canfield and you guys and Harding. What's it like playing in this conference where you're seeing a college level pitcher every time you step on the field? And how do you think Howland's going to shake up in it?
Well, the AAC is what it is. This is my 3rd year. Each team that's been in our conference has been strong every year. In our conference, we see the teams back to back. Sometimes we see the same pitchers. Sometimes we don't. We open up our season next week with Fitch. So there's nothing like it open up your season with one of the top teams around. And obviously one of the, top pitchers in the state of Ohio and, nationally ranked. Sydney Watts is definitely, on fire in the mound and everybody knows it. But it's not just Sydney. I mean, they have a well-rounded team. They have girls that can, do a lot of things in the field and up at the plate. So, I've kind of looked at it both ways. We get to open up with them and see what we can do against them and, kind of get it out of the way at the beginning of the season and hopefully start off good. But, you're kind of like, I don't know. That's necessarily the team that I want to start out with. But we got to get on the dirt last night. We were pretty excited to, actually be on the field before we actually played this year. Last year, we had no dirt playing before we actually started the season. So it felt really good to get on the dirt last night. So we're looking forward to starting the year out with Fitch. It's a conference rivalry, so we're excited to start that way. But our schedule goes up and down. Obviously, the rest of our conference is very strong. Canfield always has a well-rounded dynamite team. They have a strong pitcher, Toth, that's getting ready to head to the college ranks herself. Boardman also has strong pitching with, some girls that are getting ready to head to the college ranks. Warren, definitely the last couple of years have, been stronger than they've been. So we're looking forward to getting all those games in. Hopefully the Mother Nature decides that she likes softball and lets us get some softball in this year. But our schedule goes up and down. Our conference is super, super competitive. And, then we have some non-conference games that are, super competitive. We were just talking about yesterday some of the games that we think are going to be our toughest games this year outside of our conference. Columbiana is definitely at the top of our list this year. They have a really strong pitcher. So we're looking forward to seeing them. We're going to see Ursuline out at the strikeout cancer tournament out at McHugh next week. Ursuline's always loaded. So there's some teams that we know that, are going to be present a challenge for us this year.
One of the interesting things about this conference last year is so many freshman pitchers that it was the first time you played against them, right? So it was the first time that your hitters saw them. Sydney Watts, a freshman, Tori Strines from Boardman, freshman. Even Toth was a sophomore last year, so not a lot of film on her. And then, of course, Brooke on your guys' team was a freshman. How do you kind of navigate now all these pitchers you've seen before now? So you've faced Sydney Watts, you've faced Tori Strines, you've faced Melina Toth now, your whole lineup has. How much of an advantage do you think that's going to be knowing what you're going into kind of before the game starts?
I think sometimes it's better for the girls once they see it. Even in a game where, last year I remember going in, the girls were, super excited to see Watts on the mound and, see what she was going to bring, to them. And then I think the second time around when they see her, they're a little bit more comfortable even in the same game. So I think this year they're going to be a little bit more comfortable seeing those kind of pitchers, but most of my girls play travel ball. We hit off of our own pitchers at practice. So I actually think that our hitting is going to be one of our strong points this year.
Yeah, let's talk about this lineup because we talked about you guys in the circle. What do you expect out of your bats this year, and what do you expect out of your offense as far as the style of softball they're going to play?
We've been talking about, we really don't even know what we're going to do with our lineup yet this year because we have a pretty well-rounded lineup. So we're just trying to find the right places to put girls. Masucci has been a leadoff hitter for us the last couple of years, but she's kind of turned into being more or less a power hitter. So we're not really sure if we want to leave her there. Followed by Zoe King, really, she was new to us last year and she, was an all-conference player for us. She just gets it done at the plate. And, the rest of our lineup, Lex, Brooke, Kayla, Chloe, Grande, and Jade, and now, some of our younger girls we're bringing up. We're just looking to see where to put everybody in because everybody has a different strength. So we need to put them where they're going to, be best for the team. Brooke has hit 2 home runs in the last 2 scrimmages that we've had. So we're expecting some good things out of her in that way.
Coach, I know your time is limited. Before we let you go, I want you to just shine a light on your assistants and the people behind the scenes that help you make this Helen softball team as good as it is.
Sure. I definitely couldn't do this without my staff. My assistant varsities are Coach Perry. She teaches with me at Howland, and Coach Perry is a very knowledgeable softball coach. She played at the high school level, played at the college level, played on an Olympic team. She's been coaching high caliber travel ball with her daughter for many years. She's coached at Matthews. She's been in Howland now a couple different times. So she's definitely my right-hand man. Coach Haley Andrella is our pitching coach. This is my 3rd year with her. She, was a pitcher as well. So she really works well with the girls and, she gets a good relationship with them and knowing what kind of pitches are on for them that day, what kind of pitches aren't on from them for that day, and, what we need to go out and attack, the batters with. My JV coaches, Coach Baxter and Coach Burke, who works with the pitching coach or who works with the pitchers, and Coach Baxter is the head JV coach. They're great and they're always there. Coach Baxter is our hype coach. She's always, getting the girls pumped up and, they've been with me for 3 years. So we're all starting to really mesh well together and everybody has their strong points and everybody, when you bring it all together, it makes it work. And of course, nobody can meet the Highland Tigers lady softball team without knowing who our scorekeeper is, Coach Paul Lafrone, who is also one of our principals. He's definitely a staple in the dugout.
You can't go without seeing him in a Highland
That
softball
is correct.
No way. It's impossible. Coach, thank you so much for your time giving us this preview of Highland softball. We appreciate it. We know your spring is super hectic, but we appreciate you giving us some time, and we look forward to coming out to softball games this year. And we can't wait to talk to you again real soon.
All right. Sounds great. Thank you, guys. Have a good day.
You got it. Coach Nicole Waite from Howland Softball joining us for a softball preview. We continue our spring softball and baseball preview. Scotty, what did you take away from that interview? Howland Softball is going to have a lot of bop in that lineup, and they're going to need it against the pitching in the AAC.
Yeah, it seems like from what I got, they're gonna face a gauntlet of great pitchers. So they're definitely gonna need that pop, and it seems like they got it throughout the lineup for sure. So I think what will be interesting is at the beginning of the year, and you could probably speak more to this than me, Anthony, being the softball expert that you are, but a lot of times in as far as like Major League Baseball goes, like people will say at the beginning of the year, they'll say a lot of the time the pitchers have the advantage on certain hitters, especially if, hitters change leagues and things like that and free agency. They'll say at the beginning of the year, pitchers have the advantage, especially if you got guys that are going to be contributors that other guys haven't seen much. They don't have much, film on. They don't know their tendencies as well. But that's the thing that's going to be the most interesting to me is just watching it right at the beginning of the season. They have that lineup that should be very good, but are they gonna come out of the gate with their hair on fire and be scoring runs like left and right, or is there gonna be a bit of an adjustment period, facing the pitchers, and are they gonna have to kind of grind out some games early and win some really, really close games, and maybe they, instead of using the power in the lineup, that they win games with a great defensive player or something like that. So that's something that I'm gonna be watching for sure.
Well, Scotty, one thing's for sure. One thing that really piqued my ears is the coach Wade told us that Alyssa Masucci is starting to develop into a power hitter. I mean, she was a great leadoff hitter last year. If she starts hitting a lot of extra base hits and home runs at a leadoff spot to go along with her great speed and ability to bunt and run down the line, then watch out for that lineup, because you table set for hitters like Brooke Tater and Chloe Lopez with a double instead of a single, you almost guaranteed a run out of that Highland lineup with the power they have behind her. So if Masucci starts bringing the power bat, then that's just almost like a cheat code for this Highland softball team. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, more with me and Scotty on Running Point, brought to you as always by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
At Greenwood Chevrolet, we offer a worry-free experience for all our customers. From sales to financing and even service, we'll help build your perfect vehicle
and lock in your trade value
while your vehicle is being built.
No worries.
We guarantee financing,
regardless of your situation or credit history.
No worries. And when your vehicle needs service,
our award-winning team will get you back on the road.
No worries.
That's what going the extra mile means. Only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Change. This one word can make you break out in a cold sweat. But with change comes wisdom, experience, and understanding. At Myers Family Insurance, we can help make changes in Medicare, insurance, and retirement a positive experience for you and your family. We've gone through changes, like our new office and new faces to help our family of clients too.
For all your Medicare needs, call Myers Family Insurance. Check us out online at MyersFamilyINS.com or find us on Facebook.
You're not waiting to see what the world has in store for you. It's more about what you have in store for the world. All you need is the opportunity. All you need are the resources of a large university and the advantages of a personalized academic setting where you can experience new worlds in the arts and sciences, business, and education and make them your own. We are where you shape your future. We are Youngstown State University, and proud.
Hi, I'm Colin Chupa. And I'm Kelsey Clem from K-Squared Marketing. Our boutique marketing firm specializes in media planning and buying, public relations, event marketing strategies, and strategic sponsorships. We can integrate our services with your existing game plan, or we can be your entire marketing team. Your goals, our game plan. Let's win together. Call K Squared Marketing at 330-623-2730 or visit ksquared.marketing to learn more.
Welcome back to Running Point on ysnlive.com, brought to you by our good friends over at Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. They go the extra mile for you, and by doing that, they go in the extra mile. Sometimes, Scotty, when you go extra miles, you know that tire can get worn out. Did you know that Greenwood offers the price match guarantee with your tires? If you find a price that is better than the time of better at the time of purchase, Greenwood Chevrolet will match it. Or even if you find a better price within 30 days at the time of purchase, Greenwood Chevrolet will refund the difference. Great deal at Greenwood Chevrolet. For more deals like this one, head over to greenwoodchevrolet.com to find more deals like their tire price match guarantee. Scotty, we talked about the All-Star game before at the top of the show. One of the things that I want to just kind of push out to remind everybody, the rosters have both now been posted on ysnlive.com. Boys roster went up last night. We apologize for the slight delay after the draft. We had to make sure everyone was confirmed, and we did that. So our rosters are now on both boys and girls basketball, along with important information that players need to know beforehand and fans need to know beforehand about attending and getting to that All-Star game, as far as when check-in is, what jerseys to wear. The waiver form for the players is also on that article as well. So make sure to head to ysnlive.com and check out the boys and girls basketball rosters, with one where you're going to play excuse me, one where you're going to play, and two, all the information that you'll need to play in that All-Star game. Can't wait to see all of our great student athletes at YSU on Saturday. Scotty and I will both be in the building as well.
Yeah, really looking forward to it. My second year in a row, getting the privilege to attend the All-Star game. It was a blast last season, and as we continue to grow at YSN, I've said this about the company, and I think it's true with our events as well. I think things just keep getting better and better. So really looking forward to this Saturday, hanging out and watching the best of the best boys and girls, and just giving them the chance to, as a spectator, just watching them showcase what they can do and their talent to the best of their ability.
Tell you what, Scotty, if the weather gives us a break on Saturday, it'll be a real busy day on YSN, because we have a lot of baseball and softball that morning. Saturday is opening day, or is scheduled to be opening day for baseball and softball. So we have a lot of games in the morning and afternoon before that All-Star game. And then, of course, the girls' All-Star game tips off at 5, boys at 7. So it should be a really busy day for a lot of people at YSN if the weather holds up. On that segue, let's head over to the Storm Tracker 21 app and see what the forecast is right now for the weekend. You're looking at it. Friday, the rain will hold off. Saturday, it looks like the rain that was supposed to be on Friday right now has been pushed for a high chance of rain on Saturday. We're hoping that changes, but as of right now on the Storm Tracker app, it has a 90% chance of rain on Saturday. Not a great outlook.
Not a great outlook, but that also means that there's a 10% chance that it doesn't rain.
I love that, Scotty. Let's do the anti-rain dance, all right? Right now, yeah. Let's get up and do it.
I can bust some. Oh, no, people don't want to do
it. But yeah, like I said, if rain holds off and we have good weather, Saturday will be opening day for baseball and softball. And we have a lot of games planned to be on the network before the All-Star game. Scotty, you've said how excited you are about Saturday. What are you most excited about?
I think I'm just most excited about being back in Beagley again, especially coming off the success that the men and women had in their basketball programs this year. Just being in that environment alone, that is really exciting. And then having the whole YSN family and how you cover things, and you always do tremendous job, Anthony. And I'm just I'm just most excited to get to watch the game. And you kind of touched on it earlier, and it's something I'm most excited about is All-Star games. It's it's fun to watch the game, and you want to keep a close eye on the action, but it's more about fellowship and being with your friends, and especially for I think for the seniors too, just um, seeing them when they come out onto the floor for like the player introductions and stuff like that, and just the way they go about it through this game. I think that's something I'm most excited for, because these are the type of events you create memories that last a lifetime. And that's what it's all about, is giving these kids a chance, a platform to showcase what they can do, and make memories that they'll never forget.
Tell you what, Scotty, I'm excited to be at YSU for the first time. We had the South Range; they were great hosts for our first two All-Star games. Last year, we kind of realized we had to clear out South Range after the girls' game to make room for the boys' fans to come in afterwards. We sold out that gym twice over. And we're hoping to pack Beagley Center, but we kind of realized that we need a bigger spot. Like we're growing too much. We need a bigger spot. We have the over 60 schools represented on Saturday that are going to be sending at least one player, boys or girls, to the All-Star game. Um, it's going to be awesome to see all that highlighted on a big college venue. We have access to the video board. We're going to have the light show. PA announcer Chuck Filak is going to come. He does a great job. It's going to be a fun atmosphere. I'll tell you that inside the Beagley Center.
Yeah, and unfortunately I didn't get to catch any Youngstown State games this year, basketball wise, but I did listen uh, to several of them on the radio, and that atmosphere. Um, I want to see that atmosphere that you saw when YSU was playing in the tournament, in the Horizon League tournament, because you saw that place packed. It was stuffed to the gills. So I think we could create that again, that same electricity at YSN. And
Even in
that's
the
something that's
NIT, Scotty, that place was packed for that NIT tournament against Oklahoma State. I mean, people are getting excited about Youngstown basketball, that's for sure. And hopefully that excitement pours over, and we're able to fill that gym up on Saturday for the All-Star game.
Yeah, for sure, definitely. And I'm bringing some of my crew along.
I know your
Some
posse, man.
familiar faces. So
Leave your
yeah,
butler at home.
I'm gonna. Okay, I'll leave the butler at home. Butler got. I I ordered a butler around enough, so
Leave Jeeves at home. We don't need Jeeves. That is a dated reference. That people that are old like me and Scotty probably understand. If there are young listeners, are like, "What the heck do you? What's Jeeves?" There was a search engine back in the day called Ask Jeeves. It's pretty much an
yeah,
old butler is their logo. You just kind of typed in any question and he'd feed you out the answer to it.
Yeah, that
Back
was
in the day. You remember that, Scotty?
I do, and then I guess Google just bought it
We
out.
squashed that real quick. Where's the fun? No one
yeah.
gets to have fun anymore. Scotty, that All-Star game, want to remind people again, it is going to be on Saturday. Girls basketball tips off at 5. The boys basketball game will happen after that. There will be T-shirt sales. The ticket sales will be $5 for students, $10 for adults. Every dollar earned at the gate and for the ticket sales goes to Brighten Up for Kids. We have partnered with another great charity. We do this every All-Star game. We love to use it as an avenue to help out wonderful, wonderful local charities. We're doing it again with Brighten Up for Kids. So every dollar received at the gate for the ticket sales will go to them. We're going to have, opportunities to get autographs from the players like we always do, photo opportunities with the Ysn backdrop. It's going to be a great spot. The rosters are once again on the website, ysnlive.com. You can find the boys roster, the girls rosters. You can also find really important information, especially for the players, on the website as well, on those articles. Make sure you fill out that waiver form. It is how you get permission to play. If you're 18 or older, you can fill it out yourself. If you're 17 or younger, a parent or a guardian will have to fill it out for you. Other than that, I think everything's kind of tightened and the I's are dotted for the All-Star game on Saturday. We hope to see you out there. Scotty, before we go, I want to preview our show tomorrow. We're going to have some more spring sports previews as we have interviews with Bill Amaro from Hubbard Softball and interview with Tina Fallhaber from Garfield to share with you tomorrow on tomorrow's show from 1 to 2. But for us today, my voice is telling me to stop. Today we're gonna sign out. We thank you so much for tuning in today. Be back tomorrow from 1 to 2 with more Running Point, more spring sports previews. As tomorrow will just be 2 days away from the opening day. Very, very exciting. We'll see you all tomorrow from 1 to 2. Thank you again so much for tuning in today to Running Point, brought to you